He was awesome. He was the manliest dude I've ever met in my life. Like manlier than if Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris had a baby.
It would be this guy.
So let's talk about his beard for a little bit.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be?
Hello, welcome to Prestige Living, your audio feed that showcases the thought leaders and innovators right here in Orange County. I'm your host, Jay O'Brien, here with your co-hosts, plural, Jordan Wilson.
Yes.
And a brand new one today, Inbal Gavili.
Hello.
The newest member of our
The newest
team.
one. Today our guest is one that has blended art with corporate decor, fashion, entertainment, and the like. Michael Lastrina, founder of Woodsnap, has been featured on Spike TV's Bar Rescue and currently works with companies you may have heard of such as Sony, Red Bull, Coffee Bean, and Rip Curl, just to name a few. So we are very excited to have him with us today and to hear his story. Please welcome, without further ado, Michael Lastrina. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Hey, you're welcome. First and foremost, let's talk about the beard, because I like it.
You like that?
You guys are being deprived on the other end of this hard right now. So let's start from the beginning a little bit. Like, what were you doing before Woodsnap?
And growing a beard.
Okay, so it's well earned, just like my
This
gains.
is natural salt and pepper too.
So, how long has Woodsnap been around? When was it born?
We started it 4 years ago.
Okay, so prior to 4 years ago, were you self-employed?
I had a business in the apparel industry, so I was in the printing industry.
Okay, and it was your company?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back even further. Were you self-employed before that gig?
Yes.
Okay, so you've always been, you've always had the entrepreneurial spirit, not really a W-2 employee.
Yeah, I found early on after graduating college that I didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to be part of the corporate gig where you have to dress a certain way.
And I think for the most part, no one wants to be there, but they land there, and there's like security in knowing that you have benefits and a salary, whether you show up to work hungover or whatever, like you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Was there an experience that led you to the self-employed route, or were you just like, fuck this, like I'm just going to do my own thing straight out of college?
You know what it was I was working for a sales company, and I saw the owners just making hand over fist and kind of felt like a monkey working for them. And everything was, I was trapped in a box, had to abide by their rules, and saw them making tons of money. And of course I, struggled to get to the top, and just realized that this is a country of innovation and entrepreneurship. And so to me, I saw it as a temporary thing,
And then it was time to go off and do your own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And the first thing was the printing gig?
I've had printing businesses ever since I started that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have they always been sort of in the same line of work?
Yeah, it all circled around or rallied around apparel. That I was fascinated by t-shirt printing.
Okay.
So how did you get into apparel? What, did you have friends that were in it, or did you have family that was in it, or that was just something you kind of landed in?
I actually had a friend that recommended that I get into that industry because, what's interesting about t-shirt printing is you can get a 5,000 piece t-shirt job and make $2 a t-shirt. So it's a quick turnaround. What I discovered after being into that industry is that you're never fast enough, you're never cheap enough. They say if you give me a deal on this order, I'll bring you tons of business. It's kind of that game that you play. And so there's no customer loyalty. And so I lost interest in that, and wanted to carve out my own niche.
Sure.
So what took you from apparel printing to printing designs on wood?
It was a partner, actually the co-founder of Woodsnap, my partner Ricky Anderson. His family owned an apparel printing company, and so we had this printing technology that we used all the time. And a buddy of ours was doing these wood prints, and they were really shitty looking. They were done very washed out. He was doing it for companies like Tom's Shoes and for trade shows. Mm-hmm. So my partner Ricky came to me and said, what if we were to do that for wall decor? And so we spent 10 months developing our own printing technology for printing on wood. And what we thought was just going to be a hobby, it quickly exploded into this business that it is today.
Can you speak a little bit to that printing technology? Like, give me the elevator pitch. What sets Woodsnap apart from like the shitty one that you saw?
It definitely is our secret sauce. So
Sure.
I'd have to murder all three of you if I.
It'll be worth it. I need to hear this.
He's a pretty big dude. I don't doubt that he can do it.
But we took 3 different printing technologies and made a hybrid, and it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Long hours. Neither one of us are scientists, but we stumbled upon it after a lot of hard work, and that is what makes Woodsnap unique, is that we were able to create a matte finish, very vibrant print on wood, where you're seeing the grain of the wood through the photo, and it's incredibly durable. You can hang them in bathrooms. They're moisture and heat resistant, so that's what our customers die for. They love it.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what type of wood is it in order to put it in a bathroom and not have it get destroyed by all the water?
This is the coolest part about what we do, is that we use specifically we use birch plywood from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
We can't use domestic birch. It has to be this type of birch that is from Russia.
Why is that? Is it the type of wood, or is there some like regulation thing?
No, it's. I think it has to do with the atmosphere and where the trees are grown. But we had a
Real quick, before you get into that, how the hell did you figure that out?
That was part of the blood, sweat, and tears of
just trying wood from all over the place.
We tried poplar, which was used to paint the Mona Lisa. Beautiful wood, but it's very delicate, so your fingernails can scratch the prints.
Wow.
Oh,
so
okay.
birch has that perfect density, absorption rate. It's white enough because we don't print white ink. So any white that you see in our photos is actually the wood.
Oh,
got it.
So
okay, sorry, go on.
The craziest part about it is as the business started to grow rapidly, we got hit by the environmentalists that were saying, your business is growing, what are you doing to protect the environment? You're raping our ecosystem with all the wood you're using. So what we discovered was the trees that we use are juvenile birch trees that are harvested like Christmas trees. So the more that, it's farmed, it's not being taken from forests.
So it's stuff that's set aside
just like Christmas trees.
Sure.
So that was a really cool thing, knowing that we're not depleting forests and whatnot. And then we started this campaign called Roots for Trees, and for every Woodsnap we sell, we plant a tree. So we're using harvested trees, and everybody that's purchasing a print, that money goes towards America's forest, and they plant trees. So it's pretty cool.
Wow, okay.
So what has been your biggest failure since you started your company? And what have you learned from it?
Biggest failure would be the learning that the owner of the company is what holds the company back. The fear that you have, really the fear and the insecurities that the owner or founder of a company has. That's what holds the company back. So I think over the past 4 years, if we would have maybe stepped back earlier on and allowed our employees to take charge and for them to gain more responsibility, it kind of goes back to that E-Myth thing where you run your own company and you're so afraid to give responsibility, more and more responsibility to your employees around you. But that's the name of the game. That's how you become successful.
How many employees do you have under you right now?
In the our business is very seasonal. So we have huge spikes during Valentine's,
sure.
Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas being the biggest. Christmas time, we have upwards of 55 employees. That's not including the wood cutting facilities that we run our plywood through. And then during the slow seasons, we're at about 25 employees.
Yeah, I was looking through the gallery on the website, and it doesn't look like, it looks like literally a photo printed on wood. It's not like somebody painted, and you can definitely see the grain and all that stuff. I like that a lot.
Yeah, our printing process, it's actually the ink is almost like tattooed it's infused into the wood, which makes, you get the grain pattern coming through the wood, which makes it so organic and unique. And
well, none of us in this room know anything about tattoos, right?
Ink ball.
I'm looking at Jay's neck tattoo right now.
It's poking through. I have an eagle on my throat. So when it gets busy and people are buying prints from you, are they pre-printed? Like you put something that's popular on a print, someone buys it, or they say, "Hey, I want this on wood."
It's interesting. We've had so many people approach us. We've been approached by what's now was Lucasfilms is now Disney. Star Wars wanted to do wood prints for them. Just a number of different companies that wanted to have their stuff printed on wood to sell. But really where the value is for us is in doing custom prints for people, whether that's wedding and engagement, baby photos, family photos, things of that sort. That's where the value is, customers.
When you say value, do you mean like personal fulfillment versus working and doing deals for large companies?
Yeah, with custom prints, if it's a wedding photo, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. That's important to you. Whereas a California sunset printed on wood is not going to have as much value.
So Star Wars wasn't willing to pay top dollar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
fuck that.
Did they make like $1 billion?
Star Wars fans they're wanting their Captain Crunch box with Star Wars on it, not printed on wood.
Yeah.
So.
Understandable. So, how much does something like this cost?
Well, now we're offering coasters for all you alcoholics out there.
Looking at us right
February
in the eye.
1st is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Coasters as low as $6-7, and then our biggest prints are upwards of $300.
And what's a big print? Like, what's the size?
30 by 40 is a good size print for your living room.
Wow. Okay, so you just basically give you like a high res photo, and then 30 by 40 block of wood. It's printed on roughly around $300 mark.
Yeah. The other thing that makes it so unique is that the photos that we get, we physically take that photo and match it to the perfect piece of wood. So that pre-cut piece of wood is getting matched with your photo so that you don't get a big grain pattern in your eyeball.
Sure.
Or a tiger stripe through your bride's wedding
So
photo.
are they all, since it's coming from, you said like the white, if you will, is coming through the actual natural color of the wood. Are the woods all basically the same color?
The birch wood that we use is the same shade and tone.
Okay.
And it is somewhat of an off-white. So, the lighter the photo, the more you see the wood grain.
What's the turn time for something like that?
2 to 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've recently become a lot busier. What do you think that has to do with advertising, marketing, word of mouth, social networking?
This past Christmas, for whatever reason, we did 3 times the amount of volume in this past holiday season, which we didn't expect. And I think that's attributed to, we put a lot of focus in reviews, having customers tell us their thoughts on their experience with Woodsnap, as well as really stepping up the game with quality. Quality product, quality delivery, quality with the imagery on our website. We really wanted to attain that Pottery Barn kind of anthropology look and feel. And I think that's what's helping us really see a lot of growth. Now, the downside of that is we did so much volume over the Christmas season that our reviews suffered because we couldn't meet delivery quick enough to get everybody their Christmas present.
Do you have a guarantee time on your website that says guaranteed by 3 days? Or
Yeah, we
4
did.
days?
And then we kind of adjusted that on the fly, because of the growth, the insane growth during Christmas. And it's one of those things too that if you don't deliver to somebody a print, they act like you kidnapped their child.
Right.
It's like it was that bad to them,
So now that you're getting busier and whatnot, have you had to scale anything out in terms of like the process of ordering or the fulfillment side of things? You had mentioned that the number of employees sort of fluctuates depending on how busy you are, but is there an automated way of this all gets streamlined?
Yeah, we're definitely scaling up this new year. It's with all the growth that we saw, we're expanding our infrastructure substantially. The thing that's tough for us is you go from having 55 employees that you hired over the holiday season, and then you kind of give them the thanks for coming to half of them.
Right.
Sure.
There's a good and bad to that. It's a lot of those people have families and responsibilities. Some of them have drug habits that
they need to feed.
They need to feed that you find out about midstream, with them working there.
Mid-print.
But they are people, for the most part, and so it sucks to let those people go. The good side for the business is that you're able to bring in a lot of people and see how they perform and kind of weed out the bench warmers.
Yeah, it's very popular in the retail space too. You bring on an influx.
Seasonal.
Yeah, you bring on seasonal employees, and inevitably they got to be let go, and the demand's not there anymore, or when it scales down.
Yeah.
You might have already touched on this, but was there a moment where you and your partner,
business partner, by the way,
life partner, was there a moment where you the light bulb clicked and you're like, okay, this is gonna make it?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we were playing with the idea, and we didn't even know what we were doing. We started printing on maple, and it's a dense surface. So we were doing prints and then selling them to people, and then they would call us back and say, "Hey, the ink is running down the wood." It's literally, falling off the print. So we were it was a hobby. It was something fun. We were in this learning process. Then we figured out the birch thing and have now just an incredibly durable, vibrant, awesome print. But when the light bulb went on was when we went to a trade show out in Vegas, and we had this little 10 by 10 booth. It was super bootleg, and we had prints hung all over it, and our booth was packed for 4 or 5 days. It was a photography trade show, and it was literally packed for 5 days. I think it was 4 or 5 days of the trade show, just nonstop. I had laryngitis at the end of it because I couldn't talk anymore to people.
I think the photography trade show is the same time as the Remax R4 is. Is it in March?
Yes. It's the WPPI, the wedding, the big, gigantic, it's ridiculous. I got to meet the Marlboro photographer, the guy who shot all the Marlboro photography in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Awesome. He was awesome. He was the manliest dude I've ever met in my life. Manlier than Clint If Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris had a baby,
it would be this guy.
So let's talk about his beard for a little bit.
Well, now I was going to say, so on the reverse, was there ever a time where you were like, oh shit, this might not work?
Oh yeah, we have a major contract. I'm not at liberty to talk about who we print for, but
is it Oprah? Because I saw her face on your website.
It's not Star Wars.
This is a printing company, one of the largest in the world, and they wanted for us to supply their wood prints. And literally a week before we launched, we had major problems with the wood. We were using an exterior plywood, and we found out that was not going to work. So half of our inventory was not printing correctly a week before we launched our biggest contract. And so that's where all the gray in my beard comes from.
So are these two moments that we were just talking about, were those within that 10-month period of the blood, sweat, and tears that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, but probably maybe 16 months.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the whole concept as a whole, like when you are thinking about building a business, a lot of times it comes from some sort of inspiration where you're like, I think that this should be a solution. I think this should be a product in the market or something. I mean, what, besides seeing another company who is doing it poorly, what made you actually want to get into that sort of product?
Getting into the wood printing?
Yeah.
I've in looking back in the apparel industry and how saturated that industry is, because there's a million printers that can print t-shirts.
Right.
We were doing stuff for action sports and movie companies and big contracts, but you're just another printer in that world. With what we launched, and looking back, I think what made Woodsnap was so great was the name, developing that name that's that 2-syllable catchphrase.
Who came up with that?
People call it a Woodsnap. If they go to one of our bootleg competitors, they say, "I want to order a Woodsnap." It's kind of cool.
So it's like Post-it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Coke.
Yeah,
Kleenex.
Coke or Band-Aid. Yeah.
Kleenex.
Let's name some more.
So do you guys have an actual storefront, or is it all online, email, phone sales?
We're actually launching with Things Remembered. That's another contract that we're doing where I think they have like 600 mall locations. So that'll be a retail front for us. Woodsnap itself doesn't necessarily have a retail front. All of our sales are done online, with the exception of our little flagship location over in Tustin at the Union Market, which is a cool display of what we do. So
Is that the district?
yes, in the district.
Branca.
Yeah.
So how do you guarantee repeat business? Do you send follow-up emails to see how things are going? And how much of, this crazy last Christmas have you seen repeat business from?
I was listening to that guy Tony Robbins. I'm not a big fan of the motivational cheerleading guys, but he had a good thing on marketing, and he was talking about how advertising means nothing to anybody anymore because we're so inundated with noise. And he said the single greatest thing is raving fans. He said if you can create raving fans for what you do and have them buzzing about you, then you'll be successful. And that's what we've put all of our focus and energy on, is really satisfying the customer. And I think part of that is we have a 100% love guarantee. So you don't love it, you get your money back. In most cases, that just does it for them. With touching on the Christmas season, we had probably 500 customers that were really upset because we couldn't deliver in time. It wasn't a quality issue. It was just we had so much volume we couldn't handle it. And our people actually did handwritten letters to each and every one of those people with a gift certificate.
That's awesome.
Apologizing for the delays. So it's little things like that to just show that you really care. We're not just another printing company that offers a product, wall decor product, but we really do care about the people that buy from us. Because my partner and I being on Good Morning America and doing things for different TV shows, and DIY Network did a show on us, and all these different things are great. It's a lot of fun. But really what brings us the greatest fulfillment is being able to do a wood print photo that's going to hang in somebody's living room that's of their family or somebody who passed away. That's what really drives us and gives us the most fulfillment and satisfaction.
Awesome.
That's awesome because people can really feel that. It's not BS. Like there's a lot of companies out there that try and like bring the feelers out, but you can see that it's very artificial. Like they're manufacturing the feelings, if you will. Yeah. But you can tell when a company actually cares. You say, look, 100% love it, guarantee, or your money back. It's not like, look, there's a 14-day return policy, and it's not all transactional. It's very much like we want you to love our product, and then you create the raving fan.
Or sending an email saying like, oh, hey, sorry it's late, here's 25% off next time. Like anyone can do that. So the handwritten letter is
I think
a special
that,
touch.
That's the one thing, I'm going to be doing more marketing consulting now for small businesses and helping them out, because that's what my passion is, going through the gauntlet of all the challenges that we faced with Woodsnap over the past 4 years. That's my new passion, is to help small businesses. And what I've learned, the biggest thing that I've learned is that whether it's a product or a service that you offer, everything in life comes down to attractiveness. I use the example of dating or finding that special someone. It's being attracted to that person being unique, that person standing out amongst the rest. And that's really what we've learned in our business, is to be attractive, to have that appeal on the website through imagery and quality, and then the uniqueness of it. Obviously you want to create something that's niche or that's unique to whatever industry that is. There can be a unique aspect or a unique angle created in any industry, and we see that all the time. And so
before Woodsnap, when you were doing the printing gig, was it pretty much just your solo operation, or did you also have employees in that?
I was actually a broker, so I would go out and do all the sales. I'd go meet with different clients, and then I had different printing companies that would do all of my fulfillment.
Okay, so it was way different than now. You're the owner, and you've got 25 to 50 something employees at any given time, and in 2016, those employees have to be thought of similarly as your clients, where you got to retain them and you got to make sure that it's a good place and environment for them to work, and that it's it's totally changed from the industrial age decades ago. So how has that adjustment been, and what have you learned through that over the last 4 years?
It's funny because I left the apparel industry because of all the variables, right? So if you're doing a job and you've got this 10 color print that you're doing, like we did the shirts for Twilight, the movie Twilight. That was the biggest job we ever did.
What's your favorite movie?
Yeah,
He looks at Inball.
Lies.
Team J.
Team J.
Can we get that on the Woodsnap?
You know, there are so many things that can go wrong with a job when you're printing t-shirts, and it can cost you a lot of money. So I left that industry thinking, we're gonna get into this wood printing gig, and we got 16 sizes. It's a no-brainer. You print a photo on wood, you ship it to the customer. It sounded so simple and easy back then. And I look back now and just go, holy shit, that was a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. It's been 100 times more stressful than the apparel industry. I mean, every bit of it's worth it, but it's you know, when you're dealing with employees and concerned about their needs, and only having 25 employees, that's 25 people that you're caring for, you know, on a daily basis, making sure that payroll's covered, making sure that their needs are met, and dealing with their personal issues.
Having seen what Woodsnap has gone through, you know, the successes and then the trials in the beginning, what piece of advice would you give you 4 years ago?
We always say at Woodsnap that there's a solution for everything. We faced some incredible obstacles. The first year of business, my partner, who was 32 at the time, he was 32, found out he had cancer during the first Christmas season of Woodsnap launching, and we had to work through that, of him being gone the entire Christmas season, and he's been battling it over the past 4 years. So we have faced at our company some incredible obstacles, but the thing that we've learned is if you keep working at it and you keep working to find a solution for whatever challenge that you're faced with, there's a solution there. You just have to search for it long enough. If you search for it long enough, you will find the solution, the different obstacles.
So how do you find motivation to, you know, keep going and keep showing up to work when you're having like an off day, an off week, sometimes even an off month?
I have 3 daughters. Children definitely motivate you.
Yeah. Good answer.
Especially
Good
when their
answer.
demands are very cosmopolitan. You know, they
exactly.
like nice things.
What else you guys got?
That's it.
What's next for Woodsnap? Is it continue on the path, or do you have bigger plans for? You said you're going to do the consulting for small businesses, but as far as
Woodsnap is continuing to grow. We're looking at production facilities in Canada and Europe. Those are big markets for wall decor. We're continuing to acquire more contracts to work with. So business it's booming. It's still a new arm to wall decor, and so that's exciting stuff.
Do you see any any other companies coming out of, pun intended,
the woodwork?
The woodwork?
I saw that coming from a mile away.
Smack me in the face. Do you see any other companies that are starting up that are trying to take a chunk out of your business?
Yeah, there's other companies that do wood printing. Nobody has our technology, so
the secret sauce.
It's a different. Yeah, it's kind of the difference between going to Olive Garden or having my grandma cook you homemade lasagna.
Sure.
You know?
Or going like a Keller Williams versus like a Remax.
I was going to say a Remax, yeah.
So, are you posting this stuff on Instagram so people can see all the different products that you're creating?
We put a lot of focus on Instagram because we're an image-based company. Instagram's done really well for us.
Is the handle just Woodsnap?
Yes.
Okay, so people can find you on Instagram looking at Woodsnap. Are you guys on Twitter, Facebook, any of that stuff?
Yeah, we're on all the social media channels. But
Okay.
Instagram's where we're working the hardest.
Okay, Instagram's where to go. And then your website,
Woodsnap.com.
Woodsnap.com, is pretty easy. That's
it
pretty
simple.
good. I mean,
Easy
30 by
peasy.
40, roughly $300, 2-day turn time. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't think I would get Jordan's face in my living room, but now it's so easy. I
this
mean,
little guy?
why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you?
Okay, thank you so much for being on the
It's my
show, Michael.
partner in real
Again, it's
estate.
and partner in life. It's Michael Lastrina of Woodsnap. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Awesome.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living podcast or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your story.